5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well now, we call this the act of mating.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children.
Real talk.
Real talk. Real talk. Radio.
Motherfucker, I'm awesome.
Hey there, Internet. This is ATR. And the reason that I'm not with HBK today is because, well, I texted him and he never responded. So, it's just you and me. But, anyway, I'm back from Oswego. That's why my voice quality hopefully sounds a little bit better. And yeah. So last night was Bellator 139. While it wasn't as exciting as the last Bellator, granted, not all of them will be, because Bellator 138 was something special. Anyway, the fights went as follows. First, Pat Curran versus Emmanuel Sanchez. Hisaki Kato versus Joe Schilling. John Alessio versus David Rickles. And Alexander Volkov versus Czech Congo. So, the first fight of the night, Pat Curran versus Emmanuel Sanchez. Round 1 wasn't very upbeat, I would say. Mostly Emmanuel Sanchez throwing and missing. What he did land was a lot of leg kicks and light jabs and stuff. And Pat Curran kind of, felt him out and landed mostly counter punches, but the punches he did land were much harder, much cleaner punches than what Emmanuel Sanchez was landing. So, first round went to Curran. Round 2, there was a headbutt, which cut Emmanuel Sanchez, and Curran took advantage of that, even though it was unfortunate that it happened. Curran targeted that cut because it was at the top of the head, so he was hoping that it would bleed into the eyes and get the fight stopped or something. So, round 2, more of the same. Curran wins. Round 3, Sanchez at this point was just swinging wildly, in my opinion. Not landing a whole lot. And Curran, once again, better counter puncher. And got him to the ground and pretty much just held him down there, really. Landed some ground and pound, but didn't really go for a submission or anything like that. Just basically won on cards. So, as you probably guessed, Pat Curran won that fight. And I believe that was what we had guessed. I think so. Anyway, next up, Hisaki Kato versus Joe Schilling. I believe that we went with Kato. And we guessed right. Because first round, Schilling landed some hard kicks. But in my opinion, didn't seem too confident once Kato got him to the ground. And the end of round 1 had Kato landing some really big punches. But Schilling was able to survive the round. And round 2 came along, and a huge left hand got landed by Hisaki Kato and knocked Joe Schilling the fuck out. That's just putting it bluntly. He got knocked out hard. So obviously, Hisaki Kato won. Now this fight, John Alessio versus David Rickles, we all just completely got wrong. Again, we didn't know much about the fighters. But as soon as I saw David Rickles' promo video, I guess you can call it, where they show him training or whatever, I knew we had chosen wrong. First of all, David Rickles, his nickname is the Caveman, and in Bellator 138, he had a really quick interview where he talked about his entrances, and he goes over the top with all his entrances. So as soon as I heard that his nickname was the Caveman, I recognized him, and he was in his hometown of, I want to say Kentucky. I think that's wrong though. Anyway, John Alessio versus David Rickles, round 1. The fight actually ended up getting stopped because Rickles, completely surprising me, came out of nowhere and just started pounding on John Alessio. Now, I thought because he had 51 fights, John Alessio would, kick the crap out of David Rickles, but as soon as I realized that David Rickles was the same guy that had been interviewed at Bellator 138, I was like, crap, I made the wrong choice. So Rickles started pounding on David Rickles started pounding on John Alessio. There we go. Ugh. And John Alessio got into the fetal position, basically, and was getting wailed on. The fight looked like it was about to be stopped, and David Rickles accidentally kneed John Alessio in the head. I know what you're thinking. How could he accidentally do that? Well, considering that he was in his hometown, the whole crowd was going nuts for him, and he had this guy in the fetal position just wailing on him, I could see how, he forgets about the rules and stuff, just really wants to finish the fight and knees him in the head. Which, by the way, is illegal. So, the fight was stopped. John Alessio was asked if he wanted to continue, and he said no, so the fight was a no contest. Not a loss for David Rickles, but not a win either. So that was kind of a disappointing fight, but shit happens. And finally, the main event. Alexander Volkov versus Czech Congo. Now, on our prediction episode, I had changed my vote from Congo to Volkov, simply because Alexander Volkov is half of Czech Congo's age, and he's a little bit bigger. But boy, was I fucking wrong. Here I'm thinking they're going to go in, they're going to slug. Alexander Volkov's going to have the reach. Good night, Czech Congo. But no, Czech Congo is more of a grappler. And being smaller than Alexander Volkov, was able to just completely dominate him on the ground. He didn't, beat him up, so to speak, on the ground. He just kind of laid on top of him, really, and just held him down for 3 rounds, which led to the win. But there was one thing that really bothered me about what Alexander Volkov did, that if he had just changed this one thing, the fight would have been a whole lot different. Okay, so, first round, Volkov is trying to keep Czech Congo at bay, trying to keep him from going from the takedown. And Czech Congo gets inside Volkov's reach, takes him down. What Volkov tried to do was, when Czech Congo went for the takedown, he tried to get the guillotine. Now, this didn't work, simply because when you go for the guillotine, you grab the person's head and squeeze and lean back. Now, when you go for a takedown, leaning back is exactly what Czech Congo wanted. So, it was a pretty easy takedown, obviously. Volkov lost the guillotine once I got to the ground, and Czech Congo ended up cutting Volkov with an elbow. Round 2. Czech Congo goes for the takedown almost immediately. And what does Volkov do? He tries a guillotine again. Obviously that didn't work. Gets taken down. Congo does a bit of ground and pound. Kind of holds him down, And Volkov just straight up gets stuck because of his size. So, the final round, I'm thinking, okay, Kongo's obviously going to go for the takedown, and Volkov needs to do something completely different, because clearly the guillotine's not working. Well, as expected, Kongo goes right for the takedown, and Volkov goes right for the guillotine. Volkov, if it didn't work the first 2 rounds, why in God's name would it work the third one when you're all sweaty and tired? Seriously. Come on, man. Like, I don't know if he's not used to going to the ground, or if he didn't train for going to the ground, or whatever, but even somebody that's not a professional fighter would realize, if I did this twice and it didn't work, why would it work the third time? But then again, I wasn't there, so I guess I can't really judge. Anyway, Kongo gets a successful takedown, and they do a bit of grappling, and Volkov is finally able to make some space between him and Kongo, which I can't remember how, but it leads to Volkov getting a rear naked choke, I believe. Nope, I was wrong. He went for a guillotine. I took notes. Yeah. Anyway, so he creates some space, tries to go for the guillotine, doesn't work. They get stood back up, and guess what? Takedown, tries a guillotine. Dude, seriously? 3 times this has not worked. That's just embarrassing. And I don't speak fluent Russian, sadly enough, so I don't know what his coaches were yelling at him, but if it were me, I would have been just like yelling, "You're an idiot," at that point. Like, because clearly there's no way you can make up the points that you've lost, and yeah. So it was kind of sad to watch, honestly. But Czech Kongo gets the win, and they showed the stats afterwards of how many strikes they had landed on the ground. Volkov landed 0. Not only did he land 0, he didn't even throw any. Basically, Czech Kongo got him to the ground, and Volkov just kind of laid there. And it was really sad. But congratulations to all the winners. Once again, Pat Curran won. Hisaki Kato won. John Alessio versus David Rickles ended in a no contest. And Czech Kongo defeated Alexander Volkov. So, that was Bellator 139. And if memory serves me correct, there will be Bellator 140 next Friday. So, hopefully we'll do another episode for Bellator 140. If not, we'll find something else to do, as always. But, yeah. So, originally I was planning to talk about the news things. Let me try that again. Originally I've been planning to talk about a lot of the topics that have been on the news lately with Ryan. But since it's just me, I'm not going to do that, because I don't like talking to myself, believe it or not. Anyway, I will try and get into contact with Ryan, and hopefully we will have an episode later tonight. No guarantees, but hopefully we will still have the episode about all the topics that have been in the news lately. And if it's not tonight, possibly tomorrow night. If not, then it just won't happen. Whatever. But, worst case scenario, I'll probably just do one by myself and say screw it anyway. So yeah, look out for that. And, yeah. Thanks for listening. I'm ATR. This was Real Talk Radio. And I'll see you guys later.